What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, reviewing today's Starlink Battle for Atlas. Now, I'm going to be handling this video a little bit differently than anybody else is going to, simply because there are two big aspects to this game. The first one is the fact that, quite frankly, it is an awesome space exploration project that allows you to fly wherever you want, land on random planets, get into fights, and collect resources to slowly upgrade your characters and your ships. But there's a second part to this, which is something that I wasn't really a fan of, which is the idea that this is a Toys to Life project, which means that when you buy this game physically, it actually comes with a ship, a real physical toy, and by switching around its parts, you can customize different aspects of your in-game vehicle. Well, here's the thing. Ubisoft sent me this game very early, but the ships themselves got lost in the mail. So I decided to beat this without any of the toys, and just see how this game plays completely on its own. And I can say right up front that everything works really good. So let's begin by really digging into what this game is about. We are playing as a group of really wacky kids who have come together to go to a new star system. This scientist has really kind of discovered randomly this ability to jump 1,000,000 miles at a time, and he lands in a random solar system called Atlas. Now, once we're here, we discovered that unfortunately this place, as cool as it is and as glorious as these planets look, it's unfortunately being taken over by an evil alien cultist. Since our heroes are all young kids who love to try and do what's right, they decide to band together and stop him. Now, here is the weird part. The characters themselves, each one is a different pilot, and in this game they really dissect their backstories as to what makes them fantastic. One is like a person who became a soldier at age 16 and won 100 different battles before eventually deciding to quit and choose the side of peace. Or one of the people is a prodigy pilot who can fly anything, and one is actually a YouTuber who during battles will film the combat and talk about how he's going to get so many different likes and subscribers off that content. And each of these are cool, but it's very goofy. I mean, this is so freaking cheesy. It reminds me a lot of old Saturday morning cartoons. But along with these people, if you play this on Nintendo Switch, for some reason, you have Star Fox. This guy is fully playable from start to finish. In fact, I completely beat the game as Star Fox in the R-Wing. But what's really funny about this is that while everybody is having these really intense meetings about what choices they need to do and how they're going to stop these terrible overlords, the camera will just pan to the right and Star Fox and his crew are just hanging out with him. This is something that feels really goofy, but not necessarily out of place. There are even entire missions that are focused on Star Fox, showing more about his life, Corneria, and of course Starwolf. But I'm not going to get into those simply because that's console specific content, and honestly it's a giant spoiler if I talk too much about it. But as funny as that stuff is, what's really important here is the gameplay itself. If flying around isn't awesome, you're not going to be doing it. At its core, this game is really all about just the moment-to-moment action, the times when you're flying around and just kind of ignoring the mission markers and seeing what's over the next horizon. So you really do get a lot of freedom. After you leave the first planet, you really have full open reign. I mean, if you wanted, you can actually fly to the last planets right at the start. You're going to get terribly killed if you do, but the entire solar system right at the beginning is fully opened up. The only thing that stops things is your own ability to upgrade your vehicle and eventually go to those new territories. Don't worry though, you're not going to accidentally do it. The star map very clearly explains the easy, medium, and hardest zones. But each of these planets is also so big, I didn't really feel myself wanting to rush to the new worlds, because each one of these actually has tons and tons of missions on them. So what are you going to be doing? Well, the main idea behind this game is trying to rescue each planet individually. As you land, you're going to see that a bunch of people live here, and by doing tiny quests for them, you'll actually win their trust. This is stuff like, obviously, fighting off the local bad guys or trying to rescue somebody from pirates, but it's also scientific endeavors like planting a probe that'll allow you to expand the sight range of a satellite, or trying to dig into a new mineral deposit and unlock new money possibilities of a new drill hive or something. This is just the way you get introduced to the area though. Once you manage to start winning people over, you need to really focus on the threat to each planet. And this is done by actually patrolling around and finding the different bases that the bad guys have established. Some of these are giant creepy towers that require you to cut the power to them and then smash open their heart. Or there's giant super bosses that are wandering across the planet called primes, and taking those down will weaken the entire area's main bosses. And this is all cool because it really makes it where you end up having two branching paths of how you want to handle a situation. You can either rush straight for the main boss and see if you can survive taking them down, or you can do what I did and really kind of take your time. Really kind of enjoy the experience of saving people, taking down each of these different power nodes, and eventually weakening the boss of that territory so much that he's incredibly easy to take down. As you do this, you're going to be unlocking a lot of upgrades. This is definitely the primary focus of the game, is the real enjoyment of using every single one of your 20 weapons. Each one of these has a different elemental aspect to it, like gravity, fire, ice, or time, along with stuff that's just normal bullets, which they call kinetic energy. Now, there's something else to this, which is that not only are you going to be using these to try and create different combination attacks, like a fire vortex, but you also have the ability to unlock special upgrades. As you defeat each of these enemies and take down the bigger bosses, you get special mods, which can then be used to customize different aspects of both your vehicle and the weapons themselves, making it where they have lower cooldown, you have more armor, or just making it where your ship drives faster. But there's an extra part of this, which is that your ship itself can be tinkered with. You can actually take off the wings or put in extra armors, or in my case, at one point, I just put a bunch of boosters on my ship to see how freaking fast I could go. I believe that if I had actually been playing this with the toys, this is what they would have done. I think I'm doing a digital version of what the physical toys are for, but since I didn't mess with them, I'm not exactly sure. All of this is really, really cool, but I do think that there is a giant drawback to this game, which is that some of the stuff that you're required to do just is not fun. A majority of it is extremely exciting, but some of the stuff is really aggravating. So I'm sure as you've noticed is, even though a lot of times I'm exploring the galaxy and flying around in space, most of the game is actually on the planets. And when you're down here, you're sort of just driving around the ground. Your ship hovers a couple inches off the ground at any time. You can, whenever you want, fly back into orbit. There's nothing really keeping you here, except for some of the harder planets. Those actually have like a gravity barrier that keeps you landed. But once you're down here, some quests require you not to fly. Some make it where you're carrying a super heavy item and you end up having to do platforming sections in your car. That's what it feels like, is literally hitting the boost to go up ramps and hopping from building to building until eventually you can like put a key in a lock. These times are not fun at all, especially when it's something where you spend 15 minutes just looking for where a key goes, and when it opens up, it's just another puzzle right in front of you. This stuff is really annoying, and it made it where if I wanted to try and 100% finish a planet, I would be forced to do these annoying puzzles. Thankfully, most aren't like this, but it's the occasional ones that really kind of drag stuff down. Another issue with this game is the fact that it is incredibly simple. I mean, I never got a game over. When I played this game for 15 hours, never once did I actually die. Even when your health bar is reduced to 0, you're able to switch out pilots and ships. You literally just pause the game and then customize your vehicle, and on this menu, you can swap out whoever's dead with new equipment, a new character, or whatever you want. And it's cool, but it sort of makes it where you feel like you're invincible. As an experiment, at one point, I even started going to way too high levels and seeing if I could survive. And essentially, since I could die 6 different times, I was able to take down people that were 10 levels above me quite easily, because even if they managed to get a lucky hit and kill me, I could just switch to a different person being in the driver's seat. This is not to say it's a bad game. It just means that this is something that, while exceptionally cool to play and explore in, it's never really going to push your gaming skills. Okay, so we've heard a lot of good and a little bit of bad, but let's go over to the ratings board and put a big number on it. I am giving Starlink Battle for Atlas an 8 out of 10. If you're somebody who's looking to play this game and you have multiple consoles, I do recommend you pick up the Switch version, even if it's digitally, just because there is a lot of content in this game. Really trying to max out all your different vehicles and get every single upgrade to your class, it can take a long time, and it's really exciting to see how far you can get. But since it has all that extra Star Fox content on the Nintendo Switch specifically, it's obviously the best bang for your buck. Thanks so much for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Oh, hi. I'm just working on the next video. If you want to see what it is, go ahead and click this button and you can subscribe. Also, if you click these video links, you can see my latest review and my latest top 10. Now I'm just going to sit here for a minute and wait for you to subscribe. Oh, I guess I could put on these giant glasses. I literally found these on a roller coaster.